leverage is the agility to reinvent it on the fly. Today, we look at what happens when a leader decides that dominating one sector isn't enough and instead chooses to rewrite the rules of distribution, narrative, and market diversification across the region. Welcome back to Negotiating the World. I'm Herro Mustafa Garg. This season, we've stepped into rooms with veteran diplomats, mega capital titans, and today we sit down with an operator widely recognized as one of the most uniquely influential female corporate leaders and venture strategists in the region. She represents a tier, let's say a new tier of leadership, an executive who leverages massive institutional weight while maintaining the speed and precision of a modern venture capitalist. Dina Ghabbour is the owner and former CEO for GB Corp and the CEO of the Ghabbour Foundation for Development. Starting her journey in the corporate world at just 21, she spent over 13 years scaling marketing and investor relations for Ghabbour Auto before driving high-growth marketing strategies in the fintech ecosystem as CMO of Halan. She is a prominent investor on Shark Tank, Egypt, backing early-stage startups, and she's a philanthropic leader reshaping technical education to drive real economic mobility. This is a masterclass on how to diversify, cross-pollinate industries, and multiply your options. Let's step inside the room. Dina, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you, Herro, and thank you for this introduction.
So the first question I'm going to open up with, just to get to know you, have the audience know you a little better, that midnight call that executives get, which is that panic. Someone on your team calls and says, there's an emergency. Now, in the world of public relations and sales, and as you're driving innovation, what for you is urgent enough that it'll actually get you to wake up?
Absolutely nothing. I do not receive calls at midnight because I go to bed at 9 p.m.
Yes.
And I truly value my 8 to 9 hours of sleep. So I would never let anything interrupt that. And I'll tell you, from my personal life and professional life, we've seen so many crises. I mean, this is extremely common. But from my experience, everything is solvable. So I no longer panic. I used to 10, 15 years ago. Not anymore. The headlines, the backlash, as long as the fundamentals of the company, then nothing else matters. A piece of bad news doesn't affect you much. You just deal with it. And I've been through it so many times. And when you trust the company's policies, your team, your ethics, then it wouldn't move you. A bad piece of PR doesn't really affect you. I mean, we deal with it, but it wouldn't wake me up in the middle of the night.
This to me is fascinating because you see now with the way media and social media in particular just move so quickly. And with AI and other developments, fake news can spread like wildfire.
I received the call actually, and from someone in the team of Halan, and she was like, Dina, there's this piece of fake news about you receiving a call, this and that. And she's panicking, and I am cool as a cucumber. And she goes, I'm like, ignore it. She goes, yeah. I was like, ignore it. Nothing's going to happen. You learn.
So you have this massive historic institutional legacy. How do you modernize this? How do you negotiate modernization when often those who are in the conglomeration might like the status quo?
Well, first thing, we have to recognize that those people are the one who build the company, so they must have done something right. So you never tell them you're wrong. But what you do is, and what I've done, because I was in this exact same position in GB Auto, and I was heading marketing, for example, and my father was the CEO, and I was reporting to my father after years of working in the company. Like when I first started, I started as a small salesperson in the company, and then I made it all the way up and to being the chief business development officer and the chief marketing officer of the group. I remember I used to tell him, everything you've done has been amazing, but let's try something new because the consumer is changing. And so we have to change a little bit. And the amazing thing about my father is that he would let me. He'd be like, try and let's see. We try, it would work, and he'd give me more freedom, more laissez-faire. So, yeah, and this is how we did it. And I was very lucky because he was a very progressive man. So I'd come up with all these crazy new ideas.
And he would
say, he'd be like,
Tfaddali.
Tfaddali, give it a try. So I was very lucky, I have to say.
I really believe in this saying that we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us.
For sure. I mean, they built it. They are the reason we are here today. So, yeah.
If I can ask you about how you approach public relations, because oftentimes in large companies, the leader of the company has a massive PR team and delegates to that PR team. But you are known also for taking the lead, for looking at your personal brand and using that also as a part of the company's marketing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'll tell you what I believe. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I'm going to trust my gut and I'm going to say I think I'm right. People want to humanize companies. So, for example, in our case, GB Auto, this company's been there for about 75 years, right? And it's a very strong brand name, right? But people could not put a face to the company. They trust the brand. It's doing well. But when I started being more visible, I remember my brother once said, it's like GB became human. And you can feel it. And it built more trust. It built a better relationship with the consumer. And that's why I actually think that a lot of CEOs now of companies, even though I'm not the CEO of the GB Auto, but they are more visible because they want to build this kind of relationship with their consumer, this kind of credibility. They believe you. They can, when they see you,
Authenticity.
Authenticity.
Yeah, it's all about authenticity. You're
people
absolutely
are
right.
People are craving
Yes.
authenticity.
Yeah.
They're starving for authenticity.
Mm-hmm. So can you give an example of a time, maybe earlier in your career, where someone on your team, on the PR team, developed some strategy and you recognized as a leader that things were not going in the direction they should have, and then you personally intervened in the public realm to course correct?
The only thing I know, I remember, it wasn't that they did a mistake or anything, but I remember, for example, investor relations was handled by our team. And then when I joined the company, I started doing it myself. And I was always on TV, and you can see the difference. Investors, you can see it in the price of the stock. It kept going up, and for no other reason other than the fact that people can trust me. When they talk to me, when I started being the face of the company, you can see we were building this kind of relationship with investors. And that shows you the power of your own personal brand, as you said. But also, you have to actually be an honest person. You have to speak your truth because they can smell it. That's what I truly believe. If you are a genuine person, a genuine leader, a CEO, you don't just care about profit, but you care about the well-being of people as well.
And the impact.
Which
I know you care about.
And consumers.
Yes.
And your employees. People can feel when you are being genuine.
So to an outsider navigating career path that stretches from corporate heavy industry and automotive networks to high growth fintech, venture capital, and lifestyle brands, looks like this is a set of radical changes. But you have done this so successfully. Again, this cross-pollination, multiplication. Can you tell us about this? How you were able to do that so successfully without watering down your brand?
Yeah, I've been wearing so many different hats throughout my career. You are right. I've done cars, I've done fintech, foundation, podcast, media, Shark Tank, TV, building hospitals. Yeah, you are right. Interesting. But I guess the one thing that connects them all is the consumer psychology. Yeah. So I've done all of the above, and I think what I did or what I focused on while doing any of these jobs is truly understanding people. And that helped a lot, I think. And because any hat that I wear, I do it with so much honesty. Truly, I put my heart into every single project. I put my heart, my brain, my time, hours of hard work. And yeah, it worked somehow.
How do you research the consumer habits in all of these diverse areas?
Observing, communication, statistics. It's really important to understand the consumer psychology. I think it's a major key to success in any project that I've done.
And when you were in the automotive sector, you're 13 years there, no longer a CEO, but as owner now. So what from that industry, for example, were you able to take as lessons learned into what you're doing now in this retail?
I mean, the basics would be the same, but I have to say that at that time, that was about, 15 years ago or so, it changed a lot. The consumer psychology changed a lot. Consumer behavior changed a lot. And from what I've seen now, so back then we used to do very traditional way of marketing, PR, advertising. I've seen or I've noticed that recently what really matters to people is storytelling.
Yes, the power of storytelling.
The power of storytelling. Yes. And I can't emphasize on how important this is. The power of storytelling, not just in selling your products, in managing your people inside companies. the power of storytelling. That wasn't there 15 years ago. Or we hadn't unlocked it yet. But now, I do everything through storytelling. Any business I create, when I'm building a partnership, when I'm creating a brand, when I'm working on my personal brand, when I am building a hospital, when I am running the foundation, I do it all through storytelling. That would be the one thread connecting everything together.
Because they always say that once you tell the story, not only does it allow people to connect with you, but they'll remember something about what you said more.
100%.
Exact.
100%. And maybe because I do everything through storytelling, maybe that's why I haven't lost my personal brand wearing so many different hats.
Yes. So I know women's empowerment is very important to you.
Very
important. If you'll allow me to just present some statistics as we look at this region, because the numbers are actually quite staggering. The narrowing gender gap in the Middle East and North Africa, if that actually takes place, could inject 2.7 trillion into the region's economy, according to McKinsey. And they say venture data consistently reveals that women-led companies deliver up to 35% higher return on investment than all male teams.
Go women.
Yes, exactly. So as you are in all of these different fields and on Shark Tank and boardrooms where it is in this region male-dominated, right? How do you use hard metrics such as these to reframe women's empowerment, women's advancement as a measurable business necessity?
It's very simple. Forget about the emotional bit of it, which is probably the main reason why I do always try to empower women. The fact that I feel for women, I'm sure you do too, being mothers and carrying a disproportionate amount of responsibility and also having to show up at work and be excellent because we always have to prove that we earned this spot, right? And so on an emotional level, I do feel for women for sure. But forget about this bit. Just the fact that women represent half the talent pool. That's a fact. Are companies really willing to ignore that? You're willing to ignore 50% of the talent pool just because. So for me, this is usually my logic. I mean, you can, but are women deserving? Of course they are. Are they capable? Of course they are. Do they multitask like no other? Yes, they do. But truly, if we just ignore women, then we would be ignoring 50% of the pool. That I don't think that's smart.
Something I had a really fascinating conversation when we had a roundtable with some of the young entrepreneurs who are on the show. But we talked about, and this was off camera, but I'm going to raise it here and put it on camera, the role of ego and how, for example, in AI, I'm told that the role of ego is actually very important. Now, I don't believe that's true across all industries. There are some sectors that seem to reward that bravado more than others. But if you add on top of that the complexity of the region, where if a leader is perceived to be too nice, then counterparts will take advantage of that. And there's this fabulous, they'll take it for weakness. And there's a fabulous Egyptian proverb, the translation of which is, do not be so soft that you are squeezed dry, and do not be so stiff that you are broken. So how do you personally manage this equilibrium?
When it comes to ego, I'll tell you what my father taught me. And I really hold this lesson very dear to my heart because it helped me a lot. He always used to tell me, surround yourself by people that are smarter than you and always listen, because this is not really the culture in the region. So a lot of people hire people that they don't want to listen to. They want to just dictate, and they want them to tell them, okay, amen, we'll execute. But that's not how we do things. I really do try to hire always people that are extremely smart, smarter than me. I want people to challenge me. And by default, that means that I don't want my ego in the room, in the meeting room, right? But I also don't want people to think I'm weak. But I think I handle that through the way I carry myself. I think my confidence shines through without me trying to make it shine through. In my tone, there's always respect. You can challenge what I say, but there's always mutual respect. I sometimes lose my temper, I'm not going to lie, in times of crisis, but, there still be respect. But yeah, for me, I genuinely believe that ego is someone's worst enemy. So I wouldn't do business with my ego around.
And also, as I've noticed with you, there's no substitute for being good at what you do. And that's the core. You're good at what you do. Yeah. And everything else is
100%. And that's confidence. So you are confident, and you're confident that you're capable and you know what your attributes are. But also you want to be surrounded by people that are extremely smart, that have strong opinions, that could challenge your decisions. And I think this is what leads to success.
So if you have a foreign company that's coming to the region, how would you advise them on how best to strike this balance when they're not from the region?
When they're not from the region, it goes back to understanding the culture, their psychology, treating them with respect. Respecting the culture is very, very important. That would go a long way, I believe.
And not pounding your fist on the table.
I don't think so. I don't think that works. Do you want people to fear you, or do you want people to respect you and want to work with you? And I believe that work atmosphere is extremely important. When you go to work every day happy because you want to show up and you want to be there and you want to give it your all, versus, oh, I'm really scared of my boss, I hate my boss, I know. This animosity and negative work atmosphere, I mean, isn't this slightly outdated? Does this still happen?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, not really. Yeah. I do believe just by using your voice, you can deliver any message the way you want to deliver it.
So philanthropy. I know this is also something very important to you. And again, you have a lot of corporations, or I think also some foundations, but mainly, say, corporations that will look at corporate social responsibility, or maybe some of the philanthropic projects. And sometimes they'll think short-term PR gain, right? But you look at it as long-term structural impact. Yes, impact. How do you determine which projects to really hone in on, to focus on in your philanthropic work?
Philanthropy has always been part of our family. My mother started it. She's always done things to help others. She is the one who started 357, the cancer hospital. So we grew up in this house where we saw that it was extremely important to give back, right? And my father was very similar to her. He always believed that he should give back. So I remember clearly, 10 years ago, was it? Yeah. 10, 11 years ago, when he wanted to start a foundation and we were discussing it. And he said, so what kind of projects should we? And I said, health projects. And he said, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to educate people. It's going to be focused on education. And then he said something that I will never forget. He said, whenever you choose a project, choose one where you help people fish instead of giving them the fish. And I believe that. So our goal is always to help change people's lives sustainably, right? And so what we do in the GB Foundation is we focus mainly on educating people, giving them a chance to have a better life by having a better education, helping them getting employed, etc. But also, there are other causes that I can just not help. For example, Lulu, my daughter, she was diagnosed with diabetes as soon as she turned 8 years old. And that for me felt like a sign that I should be exploring diabetes in Egypt, and it's extremely underserved. So we are currently building a hospital for diabetes, for children with diabetes. And that too does change people's lives. So I think for me, it's the impact. It has nothing to do with PR. We don't even market it, We don't market this kind of work. It doesn't make it online at all. It doesn't make it on social media. We do it because we truly want to make a difference. Impact, help someone, give back. That's how it should always be. We should always, yes, we take a lot, and we make profit, and we build businesses, and we make money. And we should give back.
Can you describe another impact that you would like to have here in Egypt, aside from the health and the education? But when your daughters are amazing, but as you're also looking for their future, what is it? What is an area where you're also thinking about for impact that would make it even more a wonderful place for them, where they will stay and continue the legacy?
Education, for sure. There's a lot of areas where you can do so much work in Egypt, and that's the beauty of it all. That means there are plenty of opportunities. But for them to be a better place, certainly working on women empowerment and their contribution in the workplace. And this won't happen by us talking about it. There should be a real change in the system. Education system, hiring system, promotion system, investment system. So yeah, I'd like to see more of that.
And I can't wait to see you do it. So again, looking at someone outside of the region, is looking at the region and this idea of risk and mitigating risk. And again, with everything happening, how would you translate it in a way that would encourage them for long-term long-term commitment, despite everything that's happening?
I'd say that starting March 2024, we've seen some drastic changes in the monetary and fiscal policies that are headed in the right direction. And we can see the difference, and it is reassuring. Not just in Egypt. I mean, in Egypt, this is happening. And in the whole region, it's becoming quite, the Middle East is becoming quite attractive. So yeah, I think we are headed in the right direction. It's opening my own appetite in investing more in Egypt. Started investing in the beauty industry, launching a huge project in the next 2-3 months. So yeah, I think we are headed in the right direction, and I think the sentiment is positive in the region and especially in Egypt.
That's great. That's great. So I'm going to ask you now one final question that I ask all the guests that come on this program. And that is, when you look at the toughest decision you've had to make or the toughest negotiation that you've entered, what was that one variable that you completely underestimated, whether it was a human element, a structural element, but something that completely surprised you when you entered that room and closed the door?
My resilience. That's the one thing I truly underestimated. If you had told me 10 years ago that I would go through everything that I've gone through in the last 10 years, and God knows I've been through a lot. I lost both parents. We've been through revolutions, through economic shocks, through my daughter being diagnosed with diabetes, a divorce. I've been through quite some struggles, and I'm still standing and happy and laughing and delivering and creating. And so that would be the one thing I truly didn't know. I didn't know how strong I was, and that from every tough experience, I gained strength, and it helped me in my businesses, in raising my kids, in my personal life. Honestly, that's the thing that I underestimated the most.
I'm going to break my own rule, and I'm going to ask you a follow-up question on this, because one of the common denominators that I've noticed on this show, but also in leaders in general, is that psychological grit. And for some, it's positive thinking. For others, it's, again, power of the unconscious mind. What is it for you that has been your anchor that you, again, as a leader, can pass on to others?
Okay, I'm going to break it into 2 parts. So what helped me get out of every crisis, whether on a personal level or professional level, is showing up. A decision to show up daily, not for my kids, not for my business, but for me. Every morning, I remember precisely some days I could not get out of bed. I tell myself, Dina, you're just going to show up for yourself. Just going to go work out for yourself. And then you're going to go to the office. And then you're going to do your mommy duties. Just show up. So it's a decision. And I'm not going to lie, a spiritual anchor, because I needed that. Today, always the spiritual anchor, but also the fact that I've been through everything I've been through and I'm still standing helps a lot with my anxiety, with the fear of the future. Whenever I'm scared, I'd be like, you've been through it all. You're still standing, right? And just this idea calms me down. That's it.
That's fabulous. Thank you, Dina, for sharing your insight and everything that you've learned. It's really, truly inspirational.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely talking to you.
And there you have it. What Dina Ghabbour proved to us today is that whether you are steering a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate narrative through a crisis, writing a check on Shark Tank, or supporting technical education, the core playbook remains the same. You must master distribution, secure emotional connection with your consumers, and never allow institutional inertia to anchor your ambition. She also gave us a masterclass in modern narrative control. Modern consumers value hyper-transparency, so when the stakes are at their highest, there is no substitute for taking personal ownership of your voice, your brand, and stepping directly into the public eye to grow your enterprise. She also has shown to us that true resilience is having the strategic stamina to multiply your options while everyone else is freezing in place. Thank you for joining us on this masterclass. I'm Herro Mustafa Garg, and this was Negotiating the World. Until next time, step inside the room, watch your blind spots, and never assume they see the map the way you do.